Okay, so I'm wearing my glasses to protect from the screen, the computer screen, because it will ruin your eyes. I did not believe that before, but it will ruin your eyes. So I have to spend a lot of time looking at the screen. So that's the eyeglasses. Anyway, moving on. So I get a lot of requests for a lot of different things, and one of the things that I'm going back to language learning now, because that's seemingly what so many people are confused about. Again, the people who want to think that linguistics and language learning, that all linguistics is about language learning, or that's all they really care about, and they don't know anything about actually the field, which is giant, once again, about linguistics. So I'm going to talk about one of the problems that's pretty prevalent, and how you can actually use linguistic knowledge from field linguistics as part of field linguistics and part of a lot of linguistics areas, descriptive grammar, to cure that. And this is one of the things that most people do, and I'm speaking to the English speakers because of the majority of people who want to learn second, third, fourth language are native English speakers. That's their L1. So L1 is your native maternal mother tongue. All those are all synonyms for L1 speakers. So L1 speakers' biggest problem is that that's how they see the world, that's how they've related to the world, and that's how they use the computer analogy. That's their operating system. Their L1 is their operating system. So they're trying to install another system, but the system is not as complete. They don't realize how long it took them to learn their L1, and so what happens is their L1 contaminates, interferes, or basically tries to write the L2 as if it were the L1, and that is a major problem, because a lot of adults are somewhat analytical when they learn. So this is again like the left brain approach. There's ways to get around that. There are people who aren't that way, but the majority of people, especially the autodidactic people who want to think, I have to learn on my own. Well, no language is going to serve you as a self-learner unless you just want to read and write. Actual listening and speaking means that you're going to do those things, and if you can't do those things, you're never going to get it to any level. Anyway, so what I want to talk about is an example here of how an L1 causes problem in an L2. One of the largest languages that people want to learn worldwide as a L2 is French. That's because there's a huge literary history in French. There also France is responsible for legal systems that a lot of the West is based off of the French system. Also the philosophy, educational principles, all of these things are generated from the French. So there's a lot. It's a prestige language. That's what I'm getting to. It was also lingua franca, which is in Latin is actually it means the same thing. It was the French language, meaning the common language. It's still very strong. Many people speak it. It's not geo-locked, which gives it a lot of power. And so the L1 English speakers make a lot of errors because they want to apply, like I said, English onto the French. And I'm going to give you a quote from Pierre Corpetz, who did his own system at Yale for learning French. French in Action, it's huge. It was done in the 80s. It made a huge impact, and it was spun off into other languages. That his approach, and it's a very good approach. You're not going to be able to do it on your own, though. For all you people who want to cry about, oh, I can't do it on my own. Well, of course, it's not meant. No language is meant to be in isolation. Anyway, so the point here is, his saying was, French is not English with different words. That's what a lot of people think. They think another language is their L1. Well, how do I say this? Well, we say it this way. Well, that is your operating system. That's your L1. Not everything is approached that way. And as you get further and further away from the typology that your language is in, because right now the typology of English is an SVO language, subject, verb, object. This is the subject and verb, this is optional. This is optional. The object is optional because this would be a transitive verb. An intransitive verb, you just need this. This is mainly, now if you do an imperative, go, then it would just be the verb, but that's an imperative sentence. The declarative sentences, this is how the structure is going to be SVO, so that's how languages are usually written, what they are. Now, as you get away from that, say you go to like a Gaelic, Celtic language, that's going to be verb initial, and that's very difficult. Now, a lot of people have problems with Japanese because it's not really subject, it's topic, and I won't go into these explanations. The object and then the verb. The verb is the only thing that is mandatory, so these are like this, showing that they're optional. I'm not going to get into that, so that's why a lot of people have problems. Now, the script system also is very difficult. That's what makes Japanese difficult. Hiragana, katakana, and the kanji. That's what makes it difficult. But I'm going to tackle French for a second. And one of the things that people have a big problem with is they want to try to take the L1 from English and say, for example, I search for my dog, okay? Now, in English, this is where we're going to get into a little descriptive grammar here. I search. My handwriting is just quick, okay, so it's not going to be very legible. I search for my dog, okay? So what we have here, as we take this apart, we have a noun phrase, well, actually called a determiner phrase. I will skip some of that right now. This is a verb phrase, okay, and then we have here what is called an oblique. Okay, the oblique here. The oblique is because there's a preposition. So what we have, if we look at this, we have a noun phrase, verb phrase, oblique. The oblique is because there's a preposition, and the prepositional phrase becomes the preposition then with a noun phrase, okay, or a determiner phrase. Now, I'm going to leave out this talk about the determiner phrase. It is correct. It's very correct. It's Chomsky that used that determiner phrase, but he's correct for English, especially that it is a determiner phrase, and there's a lot of ways that I can prove that to you. But I don't need to do that right now. So anyway, so we have this determiner phrase, verb phrase, and oblique. Okay, so what happens is this in a descriptive terms is called a semi-transitive verb. Now, those of you who've learned prescriptive grammar, which is what most of you think all there is to grammar is prescriptive rules. Actually, it derives, what is descriptive becomes prescriptive for the learner. Now, native speakers, L1 speakers are changing things. What used to be that could be done is no longer done, just like English is leveling right now. It's losing its conjugation, so that means it's going to become even more isolating, an isolating language, because its inflections are going. People make a lot of mistakes. You hear things like he don't, which is incorrect. It's he doesn't, but you hear that quite a bit. Also, they're trying to eliminate the subjunctive if I was. That's not correct. If I were, okay, the were is the subjunctive change of the verb, showing irrealis, which is another term that gets into it. But when you know those things, you know how to speak correctly in the language. That's what I'm getting to here, the descriptive. So anyway, a semi-transitive, what's the deal with a semi-transitive verb? Because as you learned in school, if you were an L1 English speaker, you only learned that there are transitive and intransitive verbs, and the intransitive verbs carry no action, right? And the transitive verbs carry through. There has to be an accusative, there has to be a direct object after the verb. So what's a semi-transitive verb? Okay, a semi-transitive verb is a verb where there is an action carried through, but it's carried through to the oblique. Okay, so search. If you look it up, to search, because in English this is a sign of the infinitive or the non-finite. That's the way we speak in linguistics. Non-finite part of the verb. But if we change this to I search. Okay, I search. This is called ellipticated because it's missing something. You still need something. If someone says I search, you'll say for what? In English, if you're a native speaker, you're going to ask for what? Okay, and this is ellipticated For what are you searching? That is the question form, because this is fronted. The WHs are fronted to make a question in English. So now I search. So for, because for is a preposition in this case, and it signals an oblique, which is not a direct, it's not a direct object, but it is. It really is. This is where prescriptive grammar falls apart. Search for. This has to be looked at together. These things collocate together. The search for, you're not going to say I search to. A lot of L2 speakers will mix the prepositions. They say I search to you. What they mean is I search for you. So an L1 speaker goes search for, you search to me. That doesn't make sense, because semantically it's driving other concepts in their head. Anyway, so I'm getting deep into how language changes how you view the world. That's what it's about. So anyway, so I search for, right? So what happens when L1 speakers want to learn this, which is the verb chercher in French, they try to put the preposition, they want to look for a preposition, so they try to translate then from their L1, and so they're going to say things like Je cherche pour mon chien. This is horrible, because this isn't needed. This is the difference, because in French, it's even hard to even say the wrong thing there. The construction is so off for me. It's just, if you were to do it in English, if I gloss this, I search for or look for, and I have to say the for in English, but it's not there. I just search my dog. Now that's what doesn't make sense to an L1 English speaker. They say I look my dog, or I search my dog. Well, that means like searching them, right? You know, checking them out like airport security. So that semantically means something different to them, but this is not English. It's French, okay? So you have to look at what will help you here is if you do know descriptive grammar, you know the fact that, okay, if we look for the verb search in English, we know that it drives, this is what it's called. If you look this up, like there's Levinson verb things, it's going to drive a pattern. I'm going to use noun phrase for this, okay? It's determiner phrase is more accurate. Noun phrase, verb phrase, oblique. This has to have this structure, okay? This is where syntactical, morphological things come into play. Now, if we're looking for chercher in French, this requires noun phrase, verb phrase, and then noun phrase again. This is a direct, this is the accusative, to use the Latin terms. This is the direct object, okay? This is what it really is. So, if you know that these two, you don't put the L1 onto the L2. The L2 is completely different, and the structure is different because they view the world differently. So to learn another language and then to speak fluently is to be able to construct the world in a different way. And this is just a slight example how descriptive grammar from linguistics can make your life easier when you know these things. In fact, I saw a guy who's on the YouTube who is basically teaching people parts of this whole field linguistics sort of thing, sort of a beginner's course, a débutant, to use the French also. Anyway, never mind. Using that to teach people how to learn languages more efficiently. So this is what I'm giving you is a way right now to tackle any language. You're going to have to learn descriptive grammar, and descriptive grammar is going to aid you. That's why field linguists can learn any language in the world. It's one of the reasons. I'm not going to get into all that. I've covered some of the things. But what now I've done is given you a very concrete example of how descriptive grammar can make life easier. Okay? So once again, if you want to make a comment, real name, real photo. If you have something, you're going on your diatribes, like a lot of the sycophants of the would-be gurus on YouTube. And I'm going to do a video, people ask me who do I think are actually good polyglots, and I'll do one on that. But anyway, if you're going to make any sort of you know, attack me. I don't want to hear your opinions. I want citations of research. Okay, so I've just covered something very quickly. This course is mini courses, a coursework to understand. I'm not going to do a whole lecture series for you to get free information, free thing. Once again, like I said, if you're really serious, you can contact me, and I will, in the future, be doing things for those people who are very sincere about their language learning, and when I have time, when I have available time. Okay, so subscribe. I guess that's what everyone says now on YouTube. So subscribe and check out my latest things. See you later.